Hey, where did you come from? How's it going? My name is Mike. The channel's name is Health and Wealth. We're talking about Misty today. Bitcoin hitting all-time highs. What's going on with MSTY? What's going on with Mr.? What is happening in the world right now? What's going to happen over the next week here with Misty calls? I want to go over all of that with you today. If you're new here, I talk about high yield distributions. I talk about high yield paying ETFs. One that I talk about often is MSTY. Everyone's favorite to love, everyone's favorite to hate. But for me, it's just a simple collecting device. Every single 4 weeks, I get a paycheck from Misty that goes into my account and allows me to buy other things. So today we're talking about that. And I'm actually going to talk about it with no feelings at all because it's just money. And what it does is feeds my account more money every single month with distributions. Now, the opposite side of that is that the value of Misty, the share price of Misty, has really dramatically come down over the last 6 months or so. Actually, like 10 months, 11 months or so. And because of that, there are a lot of feelings out there. But for me, my average price is right around $23, and ever since I stopped buying it, it continues to pay me money every month. I take that money, I go put it somewhere else. But let's go talk about this guy over here, Bitcoin. Up to 125,000 right now. Earlier today, it hit 125,527. Yep, that's what it's looking like here. So we're getting towards the all-time highs here. I'm super happy with my purchase of Bitcoin last Friday. No, it was on Saturday. Because Coinbase had an error on Friday, so it ended up being on Saturday. But, it wasn't very much, a very small amount. But right from that day forward, it took off there. It was at about 108, and now it's at 125. So what's that doing to the stock that is constantly buying Bitcoin? It should be skyrocketing as well, right? Well, here's Mr. up $4.82 today, or 1.37%. I want to dive a little deeper into that, but before we do, here's a word from our sponsor, Moomoo. Right now, Moomoo has an amazing promotion where new users can earn free NVIDIA stock. That's right, up to $1,000 worth of NVDA shares, depending on your deposit amount. Plus, you can earn 8.1% API on idle cash, so your money is working for you right away. But what really makes Moomoo stand out are the tools. On mobile, you get a fully customizable watch list that shows live price and percentage changes. Tap on any stock and instantly pull up candlestick charts, switch between chart types, and even add technical indicators like RSI and Bollinger Band. You can draw your own trend lines and support lines, and all of your work syncs seamlessly across the desktop and the mobile platform. And for research, Moomoo has automatic charts, stock screeners, and even a pattern finder that identifies setups like double tops or bottoms for you. So not only can you kick things off with free NVIDIA stock, you also get some fantastic trading tools to help take you to the next level, all in one app. All right, welcome back. Check out the link in the pinned comment, also inside of my description here for the Moomoo information. It's an incredible platform. I know you're going to love it when you use it. So check it out for me. So yeah, take a look. Mister's still working its way up here a little bit today. The market kind of going up and down a little bit. A lot of the other stocks that I follow are kind of just hovering, flatlining a little bit today. NVIDIA, Hood, different stocks that I follow. Now, I don't necessarily follow Hood, but I do have the underlying Hui, which has been fantastic. That'll be paying out a distribution in a couple of weeks from now. But Misty here is the one that I really, really follow, and I want to go over that with you. So Mr. up 1.36. Misty, let's do a little refresh over here, up 1.22%. So it's following it fairly closely here. At one point, it was over the $15 mark, which we haven't seen the $15 mark in just under a month ago. Was $16.20. But you can see here, since November to now, all-time highs until now. The share price is down 66%. So a lot of people love to buy when things are high. They hate to buy when things are low, because they're nervous, right? And that makes sense. People want to buy something that is proving itself. It's doing very well. And back in November, it had a massive amount of volume buying into it because it was doing very well. And we're talking, 11 months ago here, you could see that run up right there. And so people were buying. But then, nowadays people are saying, the share price is getting a little low. I need to sell. And I mean, that's a strategy, that's for sure. It's not my strategy, but that is a strategy. For me, I'm a buy and hold kind of guy. If I believe in the underlying, which is MSTR, which really, if we dumb it way down, is Bitcoin. Now, I really believe in Bitcoin, then that's a buy and hold situation for me. Now, one of the times I did sell out of a fund was Tesla. And the reason I did that was because of the insane spikes in volume, which made it really hard for YieldMax to write covered calls or write calls on Tesla. So that hasn't necessarily happened over here at MSTR and Misty in a very long time. But with the price of MSTR over the last month here, up just 8.04%, that does help out Misty in that same period of time to pay out a distribution. One of the things that I pay attention to here is on strategy.com, and it's the implied volatility. Now, I don't necessarily trust this implied volatility right here at 52%. So I went to go to my own brokerage to look it up myself. This week it's hovering in the 60% range, 60 to 65%. And then next week it's in the 60 to 65. This week it's a little bit above 52, actually. It's around 58% at the time of this recording. So I think that's kind of interesting. So how does all of this, the rise of the price over the last 5 days here, the Bitcoin going up, how does this affect our distribution? Because that is the main focus of this investment for me, is the distribution. I want to be able to get paid more than $1 for the rest of my life, every single 4 weeks, for the rest of my life. That's what I want. Am I going to get it? I don't know. Lately, we've noticed that the implied volatility of MSTR has been coming down. And so for that reason, so have the distributions. I'll go ahead and just share those with you. Actually, I think I'm going the wrong way. Let me scroll up here for you. This is YieldMax's website, by the way. And what we can do is just take a look at the last, 10 or so distributions here. 227, 202. We're talking January, February. Here's March, $1.37, $1.33. Bigger one here in May, $2.37, $1.47, $1.23, $1.18. And you can see the last two have been very, very close to that dollar range, $1.08 and $1.01. Now, is that trend going to continue? Or is the implied volatility because of Bitcoin at MSTR going to pick up, which means that we will get paid more in premiums with the calls that are selected by the YieldMax team? That's a good question to ask and to think about. Again, for me, I'm more of a sit back, relax, chill out kind of guy, and just get my distributions to feed my account to be able to pay for life or pay for whatever I want it to be. Current net assets over at Misty is $4.28 billion. So there are a lot of people like me out there that still believe in this as a long-term play. But I can tell you, if I bought it at $44 and it was at just hovering around 15 right now, if you lost 66% of your money in your capital that you've invested into it, I'd be really upset as well. But, what do you do with that, right? Do you cut your losses? Do you stop investing in it and just take the distributions, or do you dollar cost average? That's something that you'll have to look inside to do. I can tell you, with the history right now, the distributions are going down. And so that to me means that, eventually if this thing gets into 13, a 10, an $8 range in share price, our distributions are going to be well under $1. And if that trend continues, then this might not be something that a lot of people will want to be invested in. And I kind of agree with that thought process, because I want to get paid. I want to be able to get enough here to to pay some bills, things like that. So I went ahead, I went to the YieldMax website, I went to Misty itself, I opened up all of this week's calls, I scrolled past all this good stuff, I clicked on download all holdings. I would love the opportunity to go over that with you. By the way, how are you doing? Thank you for tuning in here. It's kind of like a 50-50 video, positive, negative, and right in between. If you enjoy this content, I hope you hit the like and the subscribe. We're like 40 people away from 10,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. That's really, really cool. Once we hit that, we'll create new goals. What do you guys think the goals should be once we hit 10,000? Let's not get too wild over here. But here's the spreadsheet that they deliver to us every single day. This is their trades. These are their options that they're playing with. I've color-coded it, hopefully to make it visually easier for you to see. So the very top one is, the top three are synthetic. Same with the bottom three that are highlighted right here. They're all tied together. One's a call, the other's a put. So I need to go look at Mr. Price one more time here. So Mr. Price right now is $356. So we have one synthetic here closing on October the 17th. So we got 2 weeks to go on this one, and it's at $410. So Mr. is quite a ways away from that at this time. This eventually may become a loss, right? So they secured the cash at the time of making this investment. And, whenever they wrote this synthetic, the price of Mr. was $410. And so since then, it's come down. Now, they have two others here that are closing on November 21st. So we got a solid month and let's call it a half away. And they have two here that Mr. is currently beating, 330 and 345. As long as Mr. stays over top of those by November 21st, then life is good on those two. You can see the amount of shares that they've come here or the amount of calls, and you can see the amount of premium or money that they brought in during that time. Now, let's talk about this one up top here. If the end of this week comes, the end of next week comes, and we're well under 410, say around that $358 range, that's going to cost some money to close that synthetic or even to roll it potentially, but it's money out of your and my pocket if that happens. So we're hoping that Mr. by the end of next week gets up to at least $410, by about Wednesday or Thursday of next week. That's the hope here. So hopefully Bitcoin can continue its upward swing here like it has over the last week and month. Next up is the gray stuff. These are your United States Treasuries. They gain a little bit of interest on these. They have these in here as like a security for their fund here as well. We don't talk about it too much because it is pretty boring stuff, and it's like super long term. You can see November of this year, but we've got February, July, August of next year sitting in there. So we're going to skip that for now. Next, we have this weird one here. It's scheduled for October 3rd, which was last week. So I guess it just was in there. Looks like a credit call spread. It just wasn't removed for some reason from their spreadsheet. I could be wrong on that. You guys let me know. And then this weird limey color that I've got here, I tried to make it visually easy for you to see. All of the ones with a negative next to it are our calls. And then over here under market value, I'm highlighting the row right now. That's the income that's coming in from them setting these calls. Okay, so you can see the prices, 360, 362. Now, for the weeklies, they want those weeklies they want the price of Mr. to be underneath the weeklies. And so that way they can gain maximum premium. All of this is already in the pocket, but if Mr. gets above 360, then they're going to have to buy, or sorry, I shouldn't use the word buy, but they're going to have to close this option by paying money, which, we've collected the premium, but then we have to give a little bit back, right? And so that's what happens there. So again, the price of Mr. today's Monday. It is around 3 o'clock right now. Mr's sitting at 356. We want it to stay under the 360 at least. And then we have all of these other wins right here going all the way up to $382. Now you'll notice there's a couple different dates on there. We got the 10th, and then up here we got the 25th on there, which is a little unusual. It does say 10-10 right here. Oh, I get it. I get it. Sometimes they mess around a little bit. That's actually this week as well. 1010 is October 10th. So you can see me highlight or going over it with my mouse. This 1025 just means October 2025. So all of these are closing this week, this Friday. Now they physically have to close these. They don't just let them expire worthless. They close them. And I mean, it's looking pretty good because they have a whole bunch of different calls out there at different prices, ranging all the way from 360 to 382. For me, I love that. I love having a variety there. Now, just so you know, the further away from the underlying Mister's share price, the less they get for the premium, right? So you can see up here, they've focused a lot on these two calls right here, the 360 and the 362. Because of that, they've generated a ton of income. Where else here? It looks like they've really generated a ton down here on this 375 as well. And then down as we go a little bit lower here, they focus a little bit less on the amount of shares down here, 620, and it doesn't generate as much, obviously, but it's further away from the current price of Mister whenever they set these calls. Now, they may have done this last week on Thursday or Friday, most likely last week, and then what happens is they either trim the synthetic up a little bit here throughout the week, and then they buy more calls potentially. I keep saying buy. I don't want to use that word. They create more calls out there so that they can generate more income. Right now, the more income, the better, because that's what helps us with our distribution. One other thing that takes away from the income is this insurance down here called the credit call spread. You can see that it doesn't have the minus next to it, which means, that's the credit call spread. That's the insurance that they pay in hopes that, they have it there in hopes that Mister's share price takes off. So we got a 385 and a 395 sitting here. We had to pay this much money right here to open both of those. So it looks like, how much is that? $1,621,600. No, it's more than that. $16 million to open it. Oh my goodness. $216,640. That's insane. Will that do anything for us? I don't know. Nobody ever knows, do they? Has anybody ever said, oh yeah, that really helped us? Has it ever helped us? I don't know if it's helped us more than one time ever since they started doing it that way, but c'est la vie. Then down below, we also have the credit, the calls and the puts, right? And so these three and these three all match up. So those are your synthetics. And then they have the cash. They got a lot of cash here just in case Mister blows up, takes off, explodes, gets real wild with the share price and a higher value. Then they have to close all of these, right? But they got to pay. So they got the cash sitting there just in case they need to pay that off. So here we go. We've got Bitcoin one more time hanging around at 125. Mister hanging around at 356. Misty hanging around that $15 range, $14.92. Let's get that thing up, right? Let's hope over the next couple of months that can get up to like $16. Just wishful thinking, not advice at all. If I was to advise you on anything, it would be subscribing to my channel, but nothing to do with finances. I'm just here reporting what I'm seeing. And then the one thing I always look at is this implied volatility, but I never trust it. I go to my own brokerage and look it up myself just to see what the implied volatility is with Mister. So that's the thought process. That's what I'm looking at this week. Let's hold that share price of Mister here below that 300. What was it again? $360 for the week. That'd be good for our calls. That would give us maximum premium for our payment, which is about 3 weeks away from now. That's what I'm hoping for. So if you enjoyed the content, my name is Mike. The channel name is Health and Wealth. We got one last day of super warm temperatures. I'm going outside to touch some grass. I hope you have a great night. Bye for now.